Hi everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today I'm going to sight in this Ruger LVT 1022. For those of you familiar with my channel, you may say, hey Tex-Mex, don't you already have a 1022 LVT, a blued one? And the answer is yes. I love that rifle very much. Out of the box, it was very accurate. I ended up upgrading the trigger, leaving everything else stock. The trigger on that one is a kid trigger. And I ended up finding this stainless steel version for a very good price. So I did the same thing to it. I put a kid trigger in it. Everything else is stock, same barrel, same bolt, same springs, just a new trigger system because those kid triggers are very, very nice. In fact, I think I spent more on the kid trigger than I did on the rifle itself. So I'm hoping this one is as accurate as the blued version I have. I don't know if maybe I just got a gem with that blued version, but we're going to find out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to sight it in with some Standard Velocity CCI. Once I've got it sighted in, I'm going to put some Eley Target through it and a little bit of Eley match just to see how tight of a group I can get out of this with its standard barrel. I'd been recommended by many of my viewers and some of the posters to switch out the barrel on my other one to a Green Mountain barrel or something else, just something, you know, to upgrade it. I'm hesitant to touch my blued LVT because it is very accurate. Maybe not as accurate as a upgraded barrel would make it, but it's so accurate that I don't really want to mess with it. And I'm hoping this one will do the same, but there's no way to know until I start putting some rounds down range. So let me go ahead and stop yapping. I got my target set up down there at 50 yards. Can you see it? It's way down there, but that should be fine. I guess one more thing I should say about this is I do have a loophole scope on it. Let me see here. It is a variable 4 to 12 power. What is it? Is it a VX? It's a VX2 4 to 12. That's exactly what it is. And it's got an adjustable objective on there. I like putting adjustable objectives on my 22 rifles if I can do it, just because that way I can really avoid any parallax issues when I'm shooting anywhere between 15 yards and 100 yards. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. Hope this one does as well as my blued version. But there's no way to know until I start putting rounds down range. So we're going to start trying to sight it in with the Standard Velocity CCI. This is kind of a go-to ammo for me. It's not match grade quality, but it's very accurate out of a lot of my rifles and pistols. Now 50 yards is usually a little, let's just say it's a longer distance I would normally recommend someone sight in a rifle at. Typically, if you've just put a scope on something, I'd recommend starting closer to 25 yards and getting it somewhere on paper and then moving out, or else you're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure out where you are hitting. But in my circumstance here, I've got a pretty big target out there, and not only that, I've just put up a new cardboard backboard to the target. So I've got this large area of clean cardboard, and I should be able to see impacts on it in case I'm not actually on the target. And it's a relatively large target, so I think I'll be okay. But let's go ahead and see exactly how far off we are from the bullseye. Okay, not bad. Pretty close. Little off to the right. Okay. Well, that one claims I'm on target. I don't remember sighting in this rifle before. Maybe I did. I don't think so. Seems maybe that first shot was a cold bore shot. It was. I hadn't fired anything this morning, which may be why it hit a little further to the right. Now they're all starting to collect there on the left. Okay, that's 10. Yeah, that's 10. Not bad. I'm going to adjust my scope a little bit to move the point of impact slightly to the right, but that's actually relatively good. I don't think I need to mess with elevation. Just going to move it one MOA to the right, and then I'll try the Eley Target. But let me go ahead and go to my target camera and switch it up so it is on the next target. I'm going to shoot at the smaller targets now, since I am pretty much hitting point of aim, and see if I can make those groups even better. And now we move on to the Eley Target. Let me see if now that I have it sighted in, or mostly sighted in, it's probably not exactly point of aim to point of impact, although that will shift depending on what ammunition you're using anyway. I'm not sure what I'm going to sight this sucker in for when push comes to shove, but for now, let's see how the target does. I'm going to try to take slower, slightly better aim shots. Ooh, okay. Well, I'm hitting the bullseye. That's a good sign. Ooh, not as good of a sign. Oh, was that 10? I guess that was 10. Not bad. I mean, the Eley Target usually for me is more accurate than the Standard Velocity. It's not super accurate stuff, but relatively good. I mean, as you see out there, that's not a bad group at 50 yards. Could be better. But let me switch the target camera and we'll try the match and see how this rifle does with the match. And we'll finish off this sighting in session by shooting some Eley match. Let's see how good of a group I can get out of this rifle. I mean, so far so good. So these LVTs are really gems for the price. They're relatively accurate out of the box. I mean, the standard trigger is not great. I always recommend a trigger upgrade on these, but seems that the action and trigger, the action and the barrel are pretty good out of the box. Yeah, I may have pulled that first shot a little bit. This rest isn't the best rest in the world, but usually gets the job done. Ooh, I did not feel like I pulled that one. Interesting. Did I fire 10? No. No, apparently I had one casing get stuck in the action. You can see it's a little smushed there. So I'll have to reload one of these rounds. I hate doing that because I always feel like there's going to be a little bullet deformation on there. But this is the last round, or no, second to last, I think. Second to last. Okay, we got two more. Well, not bad. I was hoping for a little bit better, but not bad. Let's go take a look at our target. And here we are at our target. I got the sun behind me, so I'm going to use my shadow. I'm going to try to use my shadow here. Might make it easier to see this, the actual impact points. Let me adjust myself. Okay, where's the sun? There we go. That's better. So this was the original Standard Velocity sighting in. First shot was off to the right. I think that was the cold bore. Second shot, and then they all started grouping relatively well. Actually a good group for the Standard Velocity. Comparable, at least these last 8 shots were comparable to the match grade ammunition. Now the Eley Target did relatively well. I mean, it's under an inch, barely, but it is under an inch here. I mean, it's only 50 yards, but it's not a bad little group. And then I was hoping the match would do even better, but it didn't really. We seemed to have a few little flyers there, and then the rest grouped up really, really nice. Not bad, but it seems the winner today was the Eley Target, which is a, well, I guess it's supposed to be a slightly more budget option as compared to the Eley match. But this rifle seemed to like it, and hey, it seems to like the Standard Velocity too. So not a bad thing at all. And that's the thing about these LVTs, they're really good rifles out of the box. They're not very expensive. They are limited run rifles. I think they may be a Lipsy production. I'm not sure. But Ruger comes out with a few of them every now and then they disappear, and then they come back. I think the ones they are producing right now actually have threaded barrels for people that want to put suppressors on them. And if you want an out-of-the-box, decent 22 semi-auto rifle that's going to be really accurate, I mean, we're not talking match grade accuracy, but pretty darn accurate, these LVTs are the way to go. But like I said, I did make a change on mine. I switched out the trigger, made it much lighter by putting in the kid trigger system, but they aren't cheap. I'm sure there's other ways to improve the trigger by just changing out some springs and some other things without having to put in so much money to upgrade your rifle. But as you can see here, for a few $100s, you can get a really decent rifle that'll be very fun for target shooting and or hunting. If you need a 22 to be shooting some varmints around your property, the LVT, in my opinion, as far as the 1022 Ruger line, is really the way to go. But anyway, thanks ladies and gentlemen, this was a lot of fun. I'm glad this rifle is sighted in. I'm going to try some other ammo out of it in the future. For now, I hope y'all are doing well, staying safe, and I will see you in the next video.